How's everybody doing? Thank you for tuning in. We're here in Covina, as we have been for the last 15 months, 14 months. I guess what I meant by that, though, is instead of at the Fred House as we were, which is also in Covina, but a different location. So it's beautiful weather here in Southern California right now. This is the time of year. This is very cool weather, 60s, maybe the 70s. It'll probably warm up later next week, but this is my favorite time, or one of my favorite times, cool evenings. So I hope it's nice where you are. And big news this week. The President Biden, comes on television and tells us all that we don't have to wear masks. If we've been fully vaccinated, we don't have to wear masks. And it seems like nobody is quite sure how to take that. It seemed to raise a lot of controversy, especially here in California. Everybody started to kind of panic a little bit, trying to figure out exactly what that meant. So I think we're all in shock a little bit, I guess, is what it seems like. So we've been through a lot, so it seems like we're kind of coming out of what we've all been going through for the last year and a half, or however long it's been. So hallelujah, that's a big deal. We couldn't be happier about it. So I have a new shirt, thanks to my sister Barbara in Alabama. She works at a little, some sort of little thrift store or something there, and she sent me a picture of this shirt and asked if I wanted it. I said sure, and it's kind of a perfect fit. So I'm wearing my new shirt, and I also have on some new boots. Can't see them, of course, in the camera, but I bought myself some rough outs that I'd been wanting for a long time. I bought them on eBay for $30, and they fit. So that was kind of cool and amazing. My sister Joy complained that in some of the video, not complained, but she sort of was giving me a little bit of a hard time because in some of the videos and some of the performances, I haven't been wearing cowboy boots. In the videos, because we've been out in the desert or someplace like that, and I have to be able to move around. And despite what you've seen in westerns for a lifetime, in cowboy movies, cowboy boots are not at all practical for walking around in the desert, in the rocks, in sandy, uneven places. They're terrible. So I had on some sort of boots, my work boots, I guess. But I've got my cowboy boots on, Joy. So I'm going to do a song that is sort of a song about renewal to me, anyhow. It's kind of an odd song. It's a song about going away, but it's a positive song to me, and that kind of moving to a different place, and something that you feel good about and positive about. This is a song from the last album from 2017, the album of The Town Where I Live. This is a song called Alberta. Goodbye, Alberta, I hope your troubles pass. Goodbye, Alberta, they were never gonna last. The rain's let up, the clouds are broke, my bags are packed and stashed. Goodbye, Alberta, the storms are fading fast. When I lay down to sleep last night, the rain poured on my head. Thunder rolled on through the night, I believed I'd wake up dead. Alberta, she's a fine one, her heart's both strong and true. She'll never leave you crying or turn her back on you. Goodbye, Alberta, I hope your troubles pass. Goodbye, Alberta, they were never gonna last. The rains lit up, the clouds are broke, my bags are packed and stashed. Goodbye, Alberta, the storms are fading fast. When I lay down to sleep last night, I turned from side to side. Could not rest, I could not sleep, I was just dissatisfied. Alberta, Alberta, don't cry your tears for me. I'll be back, I will be back, that I guarantee. Goodbye, Alberta, I hope your troubles pass. Goodbye, Alberta, they were never gonna last. The rains lit up, the clouds are broke, my bags are packed and stashed. Goodbye, Alberta, the storms are fading fast. Goodbye, Alberta. Goodbye, Alberta. Goodbye, Alberta. The storms are fading fast. Thank you, baby. So it's just Susie and I here at the Casa. And big news here for us also is that Susie bought herself a new car, or a new used car, I should say, just today. So happy about that. She's been looking, we've been looking for months, weeks, a long time. Anyhow, she had a very nice, for us anyhow, Jeep Cherokee for the last 4 or 5 years. And it just kept getting wonky. Literally stopping, going. The one thing you need a car to do, go. It was stopping. So, and we would take it in. There were issues with the transmission. And it got to the point where they were just telling me, basically on the phone, that's the way the car is. Trying to tell us, because it was all under warranty. They were getting tired of seeing us. So they were trying to tell me that we just had to live with it. So she had bought it from CarMax, and CarMax was happy to buy it back from us. It worked out kind of nice. Till we found out that what is going on is the used car market is screaming hot at this particular moment. You can't really buy new cars so much because a lot of things have been out of production, and not cars, just about everything. So we've all been shutting our houses for a year and a half and not driving and not doing a lot of things. So as things are opening back up, production on a lot of, some production for manufacturing new cars for some certain specific components is way down, and so new cars production is way down, so people are buying used cars. Anyhow, it was kind of a not a great time to be car shopping, just because a lot of other people are. So anyhow, we spent a couple of months shopping around, talking. It gets kind of crazy talking to people, you know, trying to figure out where they are in Southern California, whether they're the kind of people that you feel comfortable buying a car from. Anyhow, she ended up buying a nice little Nissan, kind of like mine, from some neighbors down the street. So that worked out nice. And all of our friends, or many of our friends from the train tribe, are traveling this weekend, I think. What does it look like? Anybody on, so many of the people, train people, are on a train trip. Not exactly a train trip, but kind of a destination trip to La Posada, the old hotel there in Arizona, I think in Winslow. So we hope they're all having a wonderful time. Miss them, of course. Wonderful week of music, but I'm going to do, I try to put together a set of, you know, songs I don't do that often. And I'm going to do a couple that I've certainly sang them on these live streams, but not as much as some others. And this is a song called Emperor of the North. My friend Wyman Reese brought me the lyric to this song. And he told me he had written most of this while he was out jogging. Back when we all used to jog a bit for exercise. This is a song about, it's kind of a railroad song, so I'm going to send it out to all our railroad friends, traveling friends in the train tribe. As I said, it's called Emperor of the North. Boss John said, son, here's the deal. It will share everything that we can steal. Well, it's a 60-40 proposition. Given your green looks and poor condition, you can take this split or leave it if you choose. These farmers, they've got more than they can use. I'm not saying it's the best of lives. Yeah, but I've seen worse with two mean wives. Well, these boxcar beds, they creak and pitch. It's chancy work, you won't get rich. Them railroad dicks don't ever treat you kind. But a freer man you'll never hope to find. Well, I'm a king where I hold court. I'm the emperor of the north. If I have to, I'll just slip right through the cracks. Well, I'm the freest blowing bastard. Sometimes forwards, sometimes backwards. I come and go, but my soul's tied to these tracks. The New York yard to the Colton station. There's scattered souls across this nation. Yeah, but honor's cheap with thieves like us. Don't turn your back on them you trust. We'll live like jacks before this ride is through. Do things no family man could hope to do. Well, I'm a king where I hold court. I'm the emperor of the north. If I have to, I'll just slip right through the cracks. I'm the freest blowing bastard. Sometimes forwards, sometimes backwards. I come and go, but my soul's tied to these tracks. I'm a king where I hold court. I'm the emperor of the north. If I have to, I'll just slip right through the cracks. I'm the freest blowing bastard, sometimes forwards, sometimes backwards. I come and go, but my soul's tied to these tracks. Thank you, baby. So that song mentions the Colton Station, which is actually better known. I don't know if it was ever really called the Colton Station. That was kind of Wyman's phrase for it, but that's the Santa Fe Yards there in San Bernardino, where Susie's grandfather, who is back behind me there somewhere, Eliseo Adame, worked there, all his life, pretty much? And then all of your uncles also. So a lot of Susie's uncles, her grandfather worked there. Her grandfather worked there, Eliseo, until he was in an explosion took his eyesight. He lost his eyes. Very tragic, very sad, and I don't think he got much of a pension for it because of the time that it happened, I guess. But anyhow, the Santa Fe Yards, I wrote part of the lyric to that song, but I don't think very much of it. Wyman brought me most of that pretty complete. I think I kind of wrote part of a chorus or part of the verse. But I'll do the first song. I used to do these songs back to back. Emperor of the North, and this next one, Walking to Jerusalem. But I kind of stopped. So this is the Walking to Jerusalem is the first song that I wrote in this house that we're in here. We moved here 22 years ago now. From Susie's chuckling. She can't even believe it. But we lived for about 10 years, about 2 miles from here, the other end of town, Covina, and had to move, blah, blah, long story. But we've been here for about 22 years, and it's been a wonderful house for us. We don't like all of our neighbors all the time. But no, other than that, the neighborhood is wonderful, and it's been a wonderful place to live. But this is the first song I wrote here shortly after we moved in. I had bought a new guitar from my friend Dave Alvin, and this song just kind of fell out of the guitar. I said, thank you very much. I did say that to Dave at one point. He didn't look completely happy. I'm walking to Jerusalem. My head is hanging low. 40 miles behind me. I got 40 miles to go. I don't know where I'm traveling. I don't know what I'll find. But each step takes me further from the ones I left behind. Mother, hear me calling. Sister, hear my cry. The hills rise up before me. Shadows fill the sky. I'm walking to Jerusalem. I'm walking all alone. I'm walking to Jerusalem, trying to find my way home. I'm walking to Jerusalem. My head is hanging low. 40 miles behind me. I got 40 miles to go. I don't know where I'm traveling. I don't know what I'll find. But each step takes me further than the ones I left behind. Mother, hear me calling. Sister, hear my cry. The hills rise up before me. Shadows fill the sky. I'm walking to Jerusalem. I'm walking all alone. I'm walking to Jerusalem, trying to find my way home. 1, 2. Thank you very much. Of course, the struggle is going on in not Jerusalem, but Gaza again. And our hearts go out to everybody there. I don't know. It's such an ancient and old and ancient struggle at this point. It's gone on for my entire life. Certainly no easy solution. It involves religion and so many complicating factors, and it never seems like the people who are in charge of resolving these things really have any decency or sense about them, but our thoughts and hopes go out, of course. And I always keep in mind that the struggle in Northern Ireland that earlier in my life, I thought this can never be resolved. It's just so complex, so complicated. It's so ancient and runs so deep, and it's settled. It's settled, and it's been settled. So I hold out hope. I always hold out hope. So my brother Dan down in Shelter Valley, he's back in Shelter Valley. He had been gone there for a long time, but he sent me a couple of messages here in the last few weeks. There was a big fire in Mason Valley, right next to where he'd been living for a long time. I'm trying to think of the name of the place. There's not much there, that's for sure. But anyhow, he seemed to be fine. He was up in Shelter Valley. And Shelter Valley and Anza Borrego and Julian have all either are going to be or have been recently designated as a dark skies area, which is just kind of interesting to me. I mean, we go out to Joshua Tree when we can, and that's certainly a dark skies area, I believe. Anyhow, it's plenty dark to us. Beautiful view of the skies all summer long, and we'll probably do it this summer. We sit outside in the evening, and Susie picks out the constellations that she can see, the three sisters and the others. You can't see much in Southern California, though, so it's a real treat for us when we can get out and actually see the stars. But so anyhow, I'm going to do a song called Shelter Valley Blues. I went down to visit my brother Dan many years ago now, quite a few years ago. But and I kind of looked around, and Shelter Valley is a beautiful place. It's remote, it's rugged. But I came home and I wrote this song. My brother Dan has been kind of a loner all his life, for the most part, at least the last, 2/3 of it or more. So he's kind of at home out there in the desert with the loners and the fringe kind of people that live out there, elemental. And it's interesting to me too, but I came back and I wrote this song called Shelter Valley Blues, and it's not really about my brother Dan, but it's about someone a lot like my brother Dan. It's called the Shelter Valley Blues. Well, I've seen storms that roll across this lonesome valley. Felt thunder rattle right down to my floor. I laid awake and heard the howling of the coyotes out prowling in the dusting devils right outside my door. Well, they say this ain't no place for fools or dreamers, but a foolish dream is all I've ever known. I came looking here for shelter from the sun and sand and swelter, and the trouble that still haunts me to my bones. Well, I walked into the fire, slightly stoned and slightly wired, tried to lose myself in mescaline and booze. Now I've got no recollection of my death or resurrection, but I damn sure got these Shelter Valley blues. Yeah, I damn sure got these Shelter Valley blues. There's Katie doing the background vocals. Ow! Ow! Well, I've seen them come for sinning for salvation. Pilgrims stumble through a field of stone. I got her going. Pretty soon you see him fall. Pretty soon you see him crawl. Come here, come here. You see him leaving here alone. Well, she always said someday she'd try to find me. She wants a treat. She said something be true. I forgot the line. But I've forgotten all those lies. The truth was written in her eyes. And anyway, I've got no more that I can lose. Well, I walked into the fire, slightly stoned and slightly wired, tried to lose myself in mescaline and booze. Now I've got no recollection of my death or resurrection, but I damn sure got these Shelter Valley blues. Yeah, I walked into the fire, slightly stoned and slightly wired, tried to lose myself in mescaline and booze. Now I've got no recollection of my death or resurrection, but I damn sure got these Shelter Valley blues. Yeah, I damn sure got these Shelter Valley blues. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody that's tuning in. Thank you to Sue. Katie howls because she expects a treat. She knows that when I get started singing, if she waits about 15, 20 minutes and starts to make a little bit of a fuss, that Susie will go and get a treat. And Susie tries to have a little bit of a standoff with her because we don't really want her running our lives. I mean, she does pretty much anyhow, but we're trying to stand up for ourselves a little bit anyhow. We're losing badly, believe me, but so Katie's outside. She's had a treat. She'll be back in for a little bit.
I didn't give her one.
You didn't give her one? Oh, Susie's getting tough. We might have run out. So I'm going to do a song that I haven't done here very much at all. It's an older song. This is a song I was trying to think about when I wrote this. I know that there are some songs that kind of come along when I finished an album. Album's done, then I go into promotion mode, and that is always such a it's a huge job. It's as big or maybe even bigger than writing and recording an album, actually promoting it and trying to let people know about it. So, but at some point, I start writing songs again. I haven't really started after this last album, but I know I will. I've got a couple of things sort of brewing. This is a song that kind of came along in between, and I played it live for a long time, and never really thought about recording it. And then we were in the studio doing a few other things for an album. This is a long time ago. We were at the little studio up there in Tahunga that had been the post office up there, and my friend Cody Bryant and these other guys had the studio going up there. Anyhow, we recorded this song. It's called Cold and Lonely Shadows, and this kind of comes from back in the days when I played country bars, cowboy bars for the dancers. This was not exactly a great dance tempo, depending on how good of a dancer you were, but it was also a good slow dance number, which back in the days when I played the honky-tonks in the bars, we played a lot of slow songs. These days, you don't, if there's any of those places where you play anymore. There are a few, but they're not nearly as many. But back in those days, we played a lot of slow songs because this was all about some guy trying to meet up with some gal, and a lot of these guys weren't good dancers. So anybody can get out to a slow song or a slower number and just kind of hang on to someone and they're called belt buckle polishers. So because a lot of these guys wear these big belt buckles and everything like that, and you get all scooted up, and I won't get any more graphic than that anyhow, but your belt buckle gets polished in the process, besides getting introduced to it. So this is called Cold and Lonely Shadows. Cold and lonely shadows, rain outside my door. There's no one here to talk with, nothing to do but walk the floor. I've got no plans, no expectations. Since you've gone, I'm all alone. All night I cried into my pillow. All day I sit here by the phone. The rain keeps falling down inside my window. The blues are raining down inside my heart. There's got to be some way to stop this hurting. Oh, baby, won't you show me where to start? Cold and lonely shadows, rain outside my door. Since you've gone, the rain keeps falling. Lonely shadows on the floor. The rain keeps falling down outside my window. The blues are raining down inside my heart. There's got to be some way to stop this hurting. Oh, baby, won't you show me where to start? Cold and lonely shadows rain outside my door. Since you've gone, the rain keeps falling. Lonely shadows on the floor. Lonely shadows on the floor. Lonely shadows on the floor. Thank you, baby. You looking at me? Tommy's back. Tommy Salcedo. How you doing, Tommy? What? Tommy's a good friend from the Cinema Bar, which is the local place that, not local for me anyhow, it's kind of a big hike for me, but the guys that play with me in my band, Steve and Dave and Steve and now Gregory, but all live on the west side. If you're familiar with Southern California, we're kind of to the east. San Gabriel Valley. So the Cinema Bar is over there, and it's close to where all of those guys live. So I make the drive, and we play there once a month, sometimes a couple of times a month until everything's shut down. But it may be starting back up again. We'll have to see. But I do have a live show with my band next week on the 22nd. It's out in this area, out close to where I am. We're in the east end of Covina here. And this is a little further east, out in Upland. It's called Last Name Brewery. Brewing, excuse me. But it was formerly Dale Brothers Brewery. And I can see why they changed the name. I can barely say it, and I haven't even had anything to drink. But anyhow, Last Name Brewing, and I'm really happy to be there. It's going to be a wonderful show outside, certainly spaced, and all of the regulations I think are in the process of changing. But whatever they are, by next Saturday, will all be observed. I don't think we're going to have to wear masks. Certainly not the guys in the band because we have to sing, but I don't think the audience will have to wear masks, at least the way I understand it. And you can get information at the website, Last Name Brewing. It's on my website. It's easy to find, but if you're interested, it's a good idea to make reservations. I understand that the tickets are more than half sold out. Maybe more than that now, the last I heard. So you probably want to make reservations. But I think you can be there. There's going to be an area where the music is. And so the reservations, if I understand it correctly, that's where the reservations are for. You can certainly come to the brewery and hang out and have beer. And there's tables and eating. There's food trucks. It's going to be like a mini Coachella. You know, there's not going to be a Coachella festival this year, so this is it, folks. This is as good as it's going to get. It's kind of going in that direction. There's food trucks. There's going to be music. It's during the day. It's going to be beautiful weather. It's, you know, if you're going to fly in from another part of the country, it's close to Ontario International Airport. So, I don't know. I'm just saying. Think about it. This song I was thinking about earlier is this is a rough kind of year and 3 or 4 months, whatever it's been that we've all been through here. So this song, I don't know if it applies that well, but it's this song is kind of about losing track of where you belong and trying to find your way back. And I kind of feel like that's where we are right now. We're kind of like, you know, ready to come out of our little wombs and cocoons and apartments and houses, and nobody's quite sure what to expect. And we're all kind of figuring that out. So this is called Georgia Pines. I've traveled a lot, of course, over the years, and at certain times while I've been traveling, the lonesome thing can catch up with you. So that's kind of what this song is about. This is called Georgia Pines. Those deep Georgia pines full of blackberry vines, where the air smelled so sweet and so pure. There's a clearing, they say, full of sunlight and shade in those deep, dark, tall Georgia pines. Well, I should never have left for Virginia, but there was something I just had to see. From the day I lost sight of my home and my kin, there's been a black cloud following me. But those deep Georgia pines full of blackberry vines, where the air smelled so sweet and so pure. There's a clearing, they say, full of sunlight and shade in those deep, dark, tall Georgia pines. To the people I meet, I'm a stranger, and a stranger to them is no concern. I long for the day I can leave here, and to my home I will gladly return. But those deep Georgia pines full of blackberry vines, where the air smelled so sweet and so pure. There's a clearing, they say, full of sunlight and shade in those deep, dark, tall Georgia pines. Ah, those deep Georgia pines full of blackberry vines, where the air smelled so sweet and so pure. There's a clearing, they say, full of sunlight and shade in those deep, dark, tall Georgia pines. In those deep, dark, tall Georgia pines. Thank you very much. So yes, please think about coming out to Dale Brothers Brewing next last name Brewing. You can't change your name on me, folks. It's just anyhow, last name Brewing, formerly Dale Brothers, but last name Brewing. The information's on my website. So, but think about coming out next Saturday. It's going to be my first show, our first show with a full band, electric guitars, microphones, PA system, all that stuff that we used to. So I'm going to have a couple of rehearsals with the band here this week. I've already had one with Stephen Patt, who's just plays all the different instruments and sings harmony with me. So looking forward to it. It'll be fun. Please come out or think about it. So is your mom listening? Is your mom tuned in? She's supposed to be. So I put together a little set. I did this a couple of weeks ago of songs that my mother-in-law, Jenny, had well, the first song is a song that I wrote. Actually, my friend Tony Zamora helped me write this. He contributed the Spanish sort of bridge part or refrain, but it's about my mother-in-law Jenny. And then a few of these, one of them, the one after that, she actually wrote. I helped her write that, and then a couple of the others are songs that I have written that she's helped. So anyhow, I had put this together because she was supposed to come out and visit a couple of weeks ago. It didn't work out. We were disappointed. I was sorry about that, but things are always complicated. But, I was hoping she might make it out today, but it didn't work out again. So anyhow, she's supposed to be tuned in. So I'm going to send all of these songs out to my mother-in-law, Jenny. Also, her name is Juanita. She goes by Jenny and by Gugum and Juana. A woman of many names. So this song is called Juanita, Why Are You So Mean? And I wrote this, when Jenny and Susie's dad, Johnny, were getting together. He was sort of interested in her, and he's sort of like chasing her a little bit, I guess, trying to. And she was playing hard to get. She was acting like she didn't want to have anything to do with him. And at one point, he asked her for her phone number, and she gave him a made-up phone number. It wasn't even, he just made a number up and said, yeah, this is my number. And told him her name was Rosie, which it's not, of course. So, but he persisted, and they got together, and 7 kids, and long, happy marriage. He passed away a number of years ago now. He's been gone for a little while. Passed away at a young age, too soon. But anyhow, I wrote this song with that story kind of in mind, and kind of added to it a little poetic license, I guess. So this is called Juanita, Why Are You So Mean? I never saw it coming. I never had a clue. Was minding my own business. That's when I first saw you. I liked your rings and necklace. I liked your long black hair. I almost fell to pieces. You didn't seem to care. Estoy bajo de tu hechizo y no entiendo por qué. Es el poder del toloache o algo más que no puedo ver. No puede ser. We've been upside down and inside out, back and forth and in between. But from the start, you broke my heart. Juanita, why are you so mean? I heard it from your mama. I heard it from your friends. That girl will leave you crying and broken in the end. You spent up all my money. You somehow lost my car. I'm sorry we got started. I'm sorry that it went this far. Cuán ciego puede ser un hombre. Es triste pero es verdad. La próxima vez necesito mi coche, porque ahora no tengo nada. No tengo nada. Been upside down and inside out, back and forth and in between. But from the start, you broke my heart. Juanita, why are you so mean? We've been upside down and inside out, back and forth and in between. But from the start, you broke my heart. Juanita, why are you so mean? Juanita, why are you so mean? Juanita, why are you so mean? So I send that out to my mother-in-law, Jenny, Juanita. She's better known as Guggum to most of the kids. Kids, of course, I mean, her kids all call her mom, but the grandkids, the oldest granddaughter, Jennifer, when she was just very little toddler, trying to say grandma or grandmother or whatever she was trying to say, it came out as Guggum, and so she's been called Guggum ever since. So both Susie and ours boys, and even their girlfriends, all call her Guggum. All the kids, you know, the younger kids, the grandkids, all call her Guggum. So I've been doing these shows since this pandemic started, since this whole shutdown started. May 21st, I think, was the date last year. 19th, 20th, 21st, I forget. But yeah, excuse me, March. I said May and I meant March. And it's been wonderful to have this to do, and it's kept me singing songs, which I probably would have gotten very lazy about. I thank everyone very much for your support and for tuning in. But it does seem like it's starting to wind down, so I'm trying to figure out. I think I've decided that I'll continue with at least the next one, the first Saturday in June, and that'll be at the Fret House again. And we may be able to invite a few more people into the audience. We've been keeping that down to 6 or 8. I think we had 9 or 10 at the last show. I think we'll be able to invite more people to actually be in the audience, which will be nice. And I'll do the show there. But let me know, either post a comment or send me a message. I think that people are ready to start going out. And if that's the case, I'll probably start to wind down doing these Facebook live streams. But maybe I'll continue to do them on an occasional basis, maybe once a month. Because there's certainly people that tune in from all over the country and all over the world. I mean, that are certainly not going to be in the Southern California area where I can play. So, and I'll be playing some shows out of town. I don't have anything scheduled yet, but so far, but I'm sure that that'll start to come up. But yeah, please send me a message with your comments and your ideas and your views about how much I should continue doing these and when, and I'll try and come to some sort of a decision, I guess. But this is, as I said, this is a song that Susie's mom, Jenny, wrote this song, and she wrote the lyric and the melody, and I put together the music along with my friend Wyman Reese, who he and I wrote the song that I did earlier, Emperor of the North. But this is a beautiful song. We lost so many people. It's just, I think the full effect of what we've been through is still, it's a ways away. But I think we're sort of in a mild state of shock, and I think what we've all been through is we're going to kind of adjust to that over the next year. But we've lost a lot of people, a lot of friends during this time. This song is called Por qué te vas? Why do you leave? ¿Por qué te vas? ¿Por qué te vas? Sabiendo que te quiero, sabiendo que me muero. ¿Por qué te vas? ¿Por qué te vas? Cariño de mi vida, sabiendo que te quiero, sabiendo que me muero. ¿Por qué te vas? Si tú te vas, ¿qué voy a hacer? Tú sabes, sin ti no puedo seguir. ¿Por qué te vas? ¿Por qué te vas? Sabiendo que te quiero, sabiendo que me muero. ¿Por qué te vas? ¿Por qué te vas? Cariño de mi vida, sabiendo que te quiero, sabiendo que me muero. ¿Por qué te vas? ¿Por qué te vas? ¿Por qué te vas? ¿Por qué te vas? Why do you leave? You know how much I love you. You know how much I need you. It's that sad song. But that song and the next song were on my first album that I released on CD. I've been meaning to hold up. This is a picture of my latest album. This is called Love and Desperation. I haven't really done any songs off of this album yet. Oh, I did Juanita, Why Are You So Mean? And I'll do one more. I didn't put a lot of because I've been doing all of these live streams. I've been playing so many of the songs from this album because it was new and they were new to me and kind of building interest on the album, that sort of thing. Por qué te vas and this next song, Texas Lawyer, were on my first album that I released on CD. My first album altogether I released on cassette tape only. I did re-release those songs at a later period, but Texas Lawyer is also on this album. Texas Lawyer is kind of close to my heart in some ways, I guess. I like it a lot, but it's a story of, it's a noir sort of a tale of treachery and deceit. Everybody in this song is guilty of something, which kind of intrigues me, I guess. But anyhow, it's we did an updated version, I guess, for the for the new album, for Love and Desperation. But it's also on The Buffalo Show, my first album as a CD. My mom never really got technology-wise past cassette tapes. She could get cassette tapes to play in her car. I think she might have had a little cassette player in her house, but I'm not sure. I bet it was only in her car. So she knew how to keep them in the little glove box or the little, area in between the seats, and how to pull one out and get it into the cassette player. So even well past that first album on cassette, when I was recording everything and they were being released as compact discs, as CDs, my mom would ask me, "Ricky, when's your next tape coming out?" She would always refer to him as a tape. So anyhow, this is called Texas Lawyer. Down south of Matamoros, with the rattlesnakes, the sagebrush, and the sand, where the wind blows like the devil every day until a man can barely stand. You can't expect too much because there's not too much out here but dust and bones. And the best that you can hope is that the past you buried leaves you there alone. Alberta was a troubled man standing by a storefront in the rain, talking to himself out loud and singing crazy blues about a train. People stayed away from him, you never could be sure what he might do. But I listened hard when he told me about this certain Texas lawyer that he knew. He said this Texas lawyer'd been around now once or twice since last July, asking certain questions, bringing cigarettes and whiskey as a bride. He didn't say too much about him, but I knew the man that he was speaking of. And I knew this Texas lawyer was not the kind of man that any man could trust. Recibirá slow came at essays por tus desengaños. A cunning heart will always get what it deserves. Avado spoke of easy money, he said, for such a simple thing to do. This Texas lawyer only wanted to know some things about a man I knew. He said he had a number he could call and we could meet somewhere tonight. And then he asked me for a cigarette, coughed and spit and asked me for a light. The moon was on the water and the darkness in the shadows hit us well. A voice came from a car parked by a fence. What it said I could not tell. I turned to see about who with the gun he held and pointed right at me. And I heard that Texas lawyer laugh as he stepped out of his car into the street. Recibirá slow came at ese por tus desengaños. A cunning heart will always get what it deserves. Yeah, well, trouble always finds a man who tries to hide an old unsettled score. And anyway, the smell of fear just seems to bring the buzzards to your door. The knife that I had hidden on my skin spoke like a cold and dark command. They found that Texas lawyer face down in the street, Otto's blood upon his hands. Reciberás lo que mereces por tus desengaños. A cunning heart will always get what it deserves. Reciberás lo que mereces por tus desengaños. A cunning heart will always get what it deserves. So Texas lawyer, my friend Wyman Reese helped me write that song. My father-in-law, Johnny Moeda, contributed the Spanish refrain there, which at the time absolutely blew my mind. I asked him for something. I was kind of specific. I had an idea what I wanted, and I thought, you know, sometimes it's hard to interpret when somebody asks for something, especially if they're very specific. And what he came up with was absolutely beautiful and perfect, and it just kind of knocked my socks off at the time. I called him up on the phone. Actually, I talked to Jenny first, my mother-in-law, because I had already kind of worked on a couple of songs with her, I guess. And I said, I've got this song. I think it needs a Spanish refrain. And I kind of went through it and sang a little bit. And she said, you need to talk to Johnny. So I said, okay. And she put him on the phone, and I kind of talked to him about it. And he says, call me back, 10 minutes. And I did, and that's what he had. And it was just perfect, and I loved it. And it reminds me of him every time I sing the song, which it gives me I think about my father-in-law Johnny, who's gone now. So, but anyhow, that song is on the new album, an updated version with mariachi horns. The original version is on the album The Buffalo Show, which is available. I still have copies of that. And Chris Gaffney plays accordion and sings on that. So that one is also very close to my heart. So two versions there, and then another version that I recorded at the radio station KPIG, or they recorded it for me. I was a guest on KPIG up there in Watsonville, Santa Cruz, and I sang that song. They gave me a recording, and I took it home and listened, and I thought, well, this sounds pretty good, and put it on an album that I released at that time. I'll go into some detail about that another time. Anyhow, I'm kind of talking a lot. I feel like I should be singing more. Susie actually left the room. Maybe I'm talking way too much. No. Where you at, baby? Oh. Rest break. So this song comes from an old legend at the mission in San Juan Capistrano about a young girl. It's about a young girl named Magdalena that fell in love with a young boy that she was not permitted to see. And when they were discovered, because of course they continue to see each other, when they were discovered, as part of her penance, she was required to carry a candle in front of the congregation. Just sort of a public humiliation thing, I guess. But the legend says that Magdalena and the congregation were buried in there was an earthquake at the mission there in San Juan Capistrano. It is still being rebuilt to this day. It's never been completed as far as I know. When you go to visit the mission there, there's there's repair and rebuilding going on while you're there. But the legend says that Magdalena still wanders the grounds of the mission, calling out to her lover not to forget her. And it's Magdalena is also it's kind of a Spanish form of Magdalene, or Mary Magdalene, I guess. And so it's also, and there's the Magdalena laundries, or the Magdalene laundries that were in Ireland. Young girls that got pregnant were sent away and forced to work in these laundries. So very oppressive sort of history, I guess, or or that this legend comes from, just the whole patriarchy thing with men oppressing women. So things are better now in my lifetime. I won't get on the soapbox any more than that, but things are better now than they have been, I think. I mean, I could not believe when I first learned about the Equal Rights Amendment, the ERA. I was very young, and I was surprised. I thought, wow, this is necessary? This is horrible. This is terrible that things are this unequal. You know, women should be every bit as equal. And I thought, well, it's a good thing it's being addressed, and this will get taken care of, and I'm glad to hear about this. We live in a good, smart democracy. Little did I know. So this is Magdalena. Out in the garden at midnight, with the smell of a rose fills the air, Magdalena, she hides in the shadows. Her desire's almost too much to bear. All alone she waits in the garden for the one she's forbidden to see. And as his arms reach out to embrace her, she knows the trouble that surely will be. Oh, Magdalena, the saints they are calling for the black mark that follows your name. Cry for the night and cry for your lover and the heartache your life became. Oh, tú eres mi cariño, yo sé que no me olvidarás. Tú eres mi vida, tú eres mi todo, y eres mi corazón. My Katie. When the sun rose outside of the garden, there came the long mournful cry of a dove. There's your cue. Sad and alone, lonely, heartbreaking, wishing only to die for a little late. Doesn't sound like a dove anyhow. Oh, now all eyes are on Magdalena as she slowly walks holding a flame. And as the ground starts to tremble and the walls start to crumble, through the cry she calls out his name. Oh, Magdalena, the saints they are falling, your tears have all been in vain. Lost in the dust under the stones of the chapel, Magdalena will always remain. Oh, tú eres mi cariño, yo sé que no me olvidarás. Tú eres mi vida, tú eres mi todo, y eres mi corazón. Tú eres mi vida, tú eres mi todo, y eres mi corazón. So that was Katie chiming in there. Almost had her timing down. We got to practice that a little bit. But anyhow, just to finish my thought that I was beginning to wade into there, I've been very, very fortunate my entire life to be surrounded by strong and beautiful and very smart women. I have never understood any resistance to any equal rights. It just boggles my mind. The women that I know are at least as smart as the men around me, if not smarter. So I think it's just all patriarchal bullshit that, as I said, I think we're a little closer to it and a little farther from the nonsense these days than we were in my when I was younger. So it's encouraging. You never know. Susie had some comments there, but I didn't hear them. Unfortunately, I was singing. Yeah, yes, you did. So I was going to read some names of some people. I got to reach in and grab the glass. Can you hand me my glasses there? I left them on that table there. So these are some people that have listened in the last few weeks and some people that are listening here today, tonight. Jeff and Kathy Curvink that came down to the Fred House last 2 weeks ago. Thank you very much, Jeff and Kathy. It was so good to see you. Jeff and Kathy have been coming to many shows here in Southern California. Wonderful to see them. Randall and Mona came to one of the shows there at the Fred House. Thank you. Cheryl and Tim also came to a couple of the shows, 2 or 3 of the shows there at the Fred House. Thank you, Cheryl and Tim. Hope you're listening. Bob Ellis down there in Houston. Oh, I meant to dedicate Texas Lloyd. Robert Ellis. Bob is he's part of the Train Tribe, but Bob is a lawyer, so he is the Texas lawyer. So there's your song for you, Bob. Doesn't turn out well, but for the Texas lawyer, but hey, you got a song. What can I say? Steve and Jeannie have been listening on a regular basis. Steve, I've known for so long, has been coming to so many shows, and Jeannie, thank you for tuning in. Terry down there in Ensenadas, Terry Fry, Terry and Dan, thank you for tuning in. Richard Marchetta, up there by Magic Mountain, that whole Saugus kind of area up there. Frank Schnitz, Schnitz out there in San Bernardino still. Frank, thank you for tuning in, Frank. Frank, I think knows Susie and Cheryl from school, and knew my brother Patrick. Is that what you told me? Mm-hmm. So he knew my brother Patrick, who very sadly, tragically, passed away at a very young. He was still in high school. That was a sad thing that I don't think my family ever recovered from, and didn't realize how deep that was, a wound that was. Anyhow, that's, life goes on as best it can, I guess. But Bill Kuhn, part of the Train Tribe up there in Seattle. Jim Canales, part of the Train Tribe in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. And has a wonderful radio program there. Get in touch with Jim. I've forgotten the call letters. I'm sorry, Jim. Robert Kwan, also part of the Train Tribe. Chris Richards, who is up there in Wisconsin and just released a wonderful album and went to school there in Stevens Point. Jim, if you're listening, Chris went to school there in Stevens Point. That's where the University of Wisconsin is. And Mason, complicated, but who sort of, anyhow, Mason is going to school there. I doubt that he's listening. He's a school kid. So Peter Davies in Liverpool, my dear friend Peter and Gab, our dear friends Peter and Gabby in Liverpool. Fred Miller, thank you for tuning in, Fred. J.D. Jones, Melissa Berger, also part of the Train Tribe. The Train people may be down there at La Posada. Many of them are, I know. Joe Ray, Big Joe up there in Alaska, out there on the peninsula, and I'm drawing a blank. My brain is not working that well. Tommy Salcedo down there on the west side. Tommy, of course, from the Cinema Bar and just from other gigs around Southern California. Jeffrey Munger, I hope I'm saying your name right, Jeffrey. I believe in Colorado, in Denver area. Bob and Terry Nickum, who have been just dear friends and have come to so many shows, also came to the Fret House a couple of weeks ago. So Terry is writing and she's had a couple of books of poetry published recently. Congratulations to you, Terry. John Wilhelm, Mike Donahue in Chicago, Dina the Wolf Guerin out there in Salton Sea, both part of the Train Tribe. Rick and Kathy Yates here in Southern California, not too far from us, here in the San Gabriel Valley, came to the Fret House. Rick made it out to the Fret House anyhow. Jesse, our son Jesse and his girlfriend Nikki and our grandson Liam are listening. Howdy, 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 Liam. We get to spend time with Liam and more now that we're all getting vaxxed up. So get your vaccination. Matt and Amber up here in, I've been saying Azusa and Matt corrected me. They're in Glendora. So Matt and Amber, love you all. My sister Joy in Rialto, but is your mom there?
No.
My mom, oh, so anyhow, I sang all the songs again. She can listen after the fact. She can listen to the archived version. My sister Cindy and my brother-in-law Jim up in Sparks, Nevada, who are just, I think, returning from a trip out to the Dark Skies area up in the very far north. I think it's up in Surprise. Surprise is a little resort area where you go up to see the stars. There's no lights. There's hot tubs. It just sounds amazing and wonderful. It's in the far north east corner of California, where California meets Oregon and Idaho and Nevada, I guess. Martha, I think you're going your way out to La Posada here soon. I don't know what your travel plans are, but Martha Rowley up there in Vermont in Saxton's River, Vermont. I don't know why I have trouble with that, but love you, Martha. Have a fun time there in Arizona. Mike Donahue, I hope you're going to Arizona. In Chicago, I already said hello. Frank Hill Frank is a antique jewelry and he's just Hill Country Traders. You can find him at, and he has just the most wonderful antique jewelry and rugs and Kachina dolls. It's very well worthwhile looking up. Frank, thank you for tuning in. My sister Barbara, who gave me this shirt, thank you, Barbara. Barbara and Wayne, my brother-in-law Wayne, they're in Alabama.
On the boat.
They're on the boat. How you do that, I don't know, but they're listening on a boat. But Shelley listened on a horse up there in Fresno area. She was riding her horse and listening to the show and tuning in. Kaz Murphy, who has played with Allen Ginsberg, is a wonderful artist in his own right. Lives out in Desert Hot Springs, which I learned from the news this week is a big medical marijuana industry area. I don't know if they want that advertised. Maybe I better shut up. But Kaz is just a wonderful, amazing artist as himself. And as I said, he's recorded with Allen Ginsberg, which is just mind-boggling to me and blows my mind. Bonnie Braun in Arizona. You must be going to La Posada. You live in Arizona. Cheryl Gaffney in San Bernardino. And our friend David Osborne, who is from Leicester, who won the soccer match today. And who were they playing? Was this an international match? I can't remember. I just saw your post. I don't follow any real organized sports, so I'm not up on much of anything. But I like to, and soccer, of course, is football in England. But what was I going to sing here? Oh, it's this one here. So anyhow, I'm going to get a little Irish going here. But David is also an artist himself, a songwriter, a singer, and has worked a lot with a friend of his, and Osborne Jones is the group. I produced one of their albums, and they've recorded many, many albums. And David, in this last year, he's been busier than almost anybody I know in the pandemic. He recorded an album of his own, singing all the songs himself. Did a tremendous, every time I talked to him, he did tremendous amount of work to his house. He was baking bread, and then he was also repairing old vintage stereo equipment. Oh, and breaking up dog. Susie mentioned that. They have a dog that they adopted, very kindly adopted, named Xena. And Xena the love dog. So Xena is just a wonderful, loving dog from everything I can see. Just beautiful pictures, very loving, except to other dogs, I guess. So she's kind of bigger. She's 60 or 70 pounds. We're only laughing and making a bit of a joke about this because some of these have gone kind of wild. No dogs have been hurt in any of these incidents. So Xena is loving in her attacks, I guess. That's a crazy thing to say. She's picked a couple of dogs up in her mouth just to get them to stop. Little dogs are annoying to these bigger dogs. They get them going, these little... And now I'm getting in trouble because I know a lot of people love the little dogs, but... I'm going to shut up, but anyhow, Xena, the love dog, we wish you a lot of love. But David has also been repairing vintage stereo equipment, so he's been busier than anybody I know. This has been a wildly productive time, so for some people, David was one of them, I guess. But I got a few things done. I got a fence up, and I got the posts up for the awning, the covering over the patio, and I released an album, so I feel like I got a couple of things done. Anyhow, I'm going to go way back. This is the oldest song maybe that I sing. This is an old Irish song, many versions of this song. As I was a-going over Gilgary Mountain, I spied Colonel Pepper and his money he was counting. I drew forth my pistols, I rattled out my saber, singing, "Stand and deliver, for I am a bold deceiver." Mushroom, Durham die. Whack fo da daddy-o, whack fo da daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Well, them bright and shiny coins, they sure look fat and jolly. So I put them in my pocket and I took them home to Molly. She laughed and she swore that she never would deceive me. But the devil's in the women, they always lie so easy. Mushroom, Durham died. Whack fo da daddy-o, whack fo da daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. As I woke between the hours of 6 and 7, with guards standing around me in numbers odd and even, I flew to my pistols, but alas, I was mistaken. For Molly hid my pistols, and a prisoner I was taken. Mushroom, Durham died. Whack fo da daddy-o, whack fo da daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Well, they put me in a jail without a judge or jury for robbing Colonel Pepper in the morning bright and early. But they didn't take my fists, so I knocked down a sentry, bid a fond farewell to that cold penitentiary. Mushroom, Durham died. Whack for the daddy-o, whack for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Well, there's some that take delight in lawns and a bowling, some that take delight in the carriages a rolling. Me, I take delight in the fruit of the barley, and courting pretty women in the morning bright and early. Mushroom, Durham died. Whack for the daddy-o, whack for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Whack for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Whack for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Thank you very much, baby. Thank you, everybody out there. And I should probably try and clean up my little story that I was starting to tell there. Yes, David's dog, Xena, is a wonderful and loving dog. And there's been a couple of encounters with, usually with smaller dogs. And, you know, smaller dogs, many people love them. I certainly didn't mean to cast any aspersions or anything like that. All dogs are wonderful, and all dogs go to heaven, from what I hear. So, and you know, it happens with Katie also. It's the little dogs. They're very, you know, they're kind of wound up. That's their nature, I guess. And those are the ones that come in either if they're somebody else walking through the neighborhood when we're walking by, or if they're behind the fence. Those are the ones that get our dog, Katie, wound up, and she'll start spinning on the end of the leash like a top. And we just kind of, you know, move past as quickly and smoothly as we can. We have a couple of walks that we go on, and we stick to those because we don't want to where all the dogs. It's hard to map out where all the dogs are in the neighborhood. So we've got a couple of maps strategically, or walks strategically mapped out around our neighborhood to avoid as many dog encounters as we can. And we do okay. And she's gotten so much better, at least with me. She's still a little rough on Susie at times, but she's pretty good with me most of the time. You know, dog stuff. What are you going to do? So, what key was I going to do this in? I got to go up here. So this is a song about... I'm not sure how well I cleaned that up. I did the best I can. This is a song about an older Irish fellow that travels to the gold fields in California and some of what he encounters. And California has always represented kind of a dream. It's a place where you go to discover something new, to do something, to become a different person, or to seek your fortune. And certainly starting with the gold rush, but I'm sure probably even before then. So that's one of the things that I love about California. It used to sort of scare me in a way. I had read The Day of Nathaniel. What's Nathaniel? I've forgotten the author's last name. The Day of the Locust. Nathaniel. I can't remember his last name now, but anyhow, it's a story set in the 20s or 30s, and in Hollywood, and you know, people that a lot, you know, with show business, as with anything, maybe more so with show business. It's not many people are gonna have, you know. I've been able to eke out sort of this grassroots sort of career out of this, and I'm very, very happy and very proud of it. But it's a difficult thing to do. So in other aspects, like the movie or any other sort of career, there's a lot of people that come out to areas like Los Angeles and don't really achieve their dreams. And when I was younger, that sort of thing sort of bothered me, I guess, maybe just because I was younger. But now I look at that and I kind of think that's a beautiful thing. I think people, putting everything on the line to chase their dreams is kind of a beautiful, it's an amazing thing. And so you see a lot of that in Southern California, but all over California, certainly with the tech industry up in Silicon Valley, Sunnyvale and San Jose area. But anyhow, this is about the gold rush era. This is called Ty Robbie, and I tacked on what I kind of imagine a little cattle call sounding refrain. I imagine that this Irish fellow might have heard as he was crossing the prairies in the desert. Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie. Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Tyro. Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Tyro. Dark is the hollow and deep is the pine, where the lonesome old whippoorwill calls. There was not once that I thought I had nothing but time, back when I stood straight and tall, back when I stood straight and tall. You Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie. Robbie, Ty, Robbie, Tyro. Robbie, Ty, Robbie, Tyro. Away on the water and out on the plains, through deserts too hot to believe, Coloma is where men were staking their claims, between blacklegs and swindlers and thieves. Blacklegs and swindlers and thieves. And so I buried my hands in a cold mountain stream and found gold at my colony hill. I was chasing the ghost of the old Spanish dream and caught a thirst that no liquor could kill. I caught a thirst that no liquor could kill. You Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Tyro. Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Tyro. Well, a fool and his money will quickly part ways, and a fool I shall evermore be, gambling and whoring and drinking for days, shit-faced and too blind to see, shit-faced and too blind to see. Oh, Maggie, sweet Maggie, I've nothing but shame, just a drunk with his last dollar bill. They say that in love no one's ever to blame. I hear your voice calling me still. I hear your voice calling me still. You Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Tyro. Robbie, Ty Robbie, Tyro. You Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Tyro. Ty Robbie, Ty Robbie, Tyro. Thank you, baby. That song makes Susie cry some of the time, even though I thought I wrote an uplifting. Did I forget to sing the last verse there? Did I forget to sing it? There's a last verse. It's the uplifting verse. Now the leaves may have fallen and the waters run dry, but the moon, it still shines up above. It shimmers and sparkles with silver and gold. In the night like a bright shining dove, in the night like a bright shining dove. Anyhow, that verse was supposed to be the sort of the uplifting verse, but the song still makes Susie sad anyhow, especially when I forget to include it. That doesn't help much. So anyhow.
And that was Nathaniel West.
Nathaniel West. I bet it was Martha that let me know.
No,
Cindy and Jim?
Tommy.
Oh, Cindy and Tommy Salcedo? Mm-hmm. Tommy! Yes, Nathaniel West. And there's a film of that, I'm sure, but I bet it's called something else. I bet it's not called The Day of the Locust. Maybe it is. So anyhow, it's a great book, great read. Made an impression on me as a kid. But I'm going to do another song that's on the new album. I'll hold this up just for illustration. My smiling face there. Kind of a sinister grin. But this is a song that my friend Kim Ringer sent me the lyric to this song a little while ago, a year and a half or so. And I looked at the lyric and I just thought it was beautiful and heartbreaking. Kim is the late great, I should say, California folk singer, songwriter Jim Ringer's daughter. So Kim is Jim's daughter. So she certainly knows her folk music and other music, I'm sure. But Jim had a partner, Mary McCaslin. Jim Ringer and Mary McCaslin. They recorded one album officially as a duo, but worked on all of their albums during a certain period of time together as a duo, playing and singing on each other's albums, and were really very popular and successful over a short period of time. They, for various reasons, things didn't work out in the long run. Mary continued her career for a long time as a solo artist and lives here in Southern California still, and I stay in touch with her. Not as much as I should. I'm sorry, Mary, I love you. Anyhow, I got to know Kim through playing shows with Mary. We played a show for the Folk Music Society, I believe it was, up in Fresno. And we did shows for a while. We would sing the songs that Jim and Mary had sang together. And we would start out the show and each do a set of our own songs, and then we would do a longer set of songs that Jim and Mary had sang together. And we did that up in Fresno, and Kim and many of the Ringers. There was most everybody in the crowd was a relative or part of the Ringer clan. I remember it was a wonderful night. It meant a lot to me. It meant a great deal to me. And I met Kim that night, and we've stayed in touch over Facebook and other ways. But she sent me the lyric to this song. It's on the new album. It's called "She Sang of the Earth." There's a little place out the desert way. Folks would laugh and guitars play. Songs were sung and stories they were told. He came one day to that nowhere place, sat right down when he saw her face, and she sang to him, and the words were made of gold. She sang of the earth, she sang of the sky, she sang of hello, she sang of goodbye, she sang of the people and of all the days gone past. She sang of the moon, she sang of the stars and late night dancing in a rundown bar, and she sang of the time disappearing oh so fast. Well, he sat down and he joined in. He sang of heaven and he sang of sin and of all the different people that he had known. Their voices joined in harmony. They sang of you and they sang of me and of all the places that he had yet to go. She sang of the earth, she sang of the sky, she sang of hello, she sang of goodbye, she sang of the people and of all the days gone past. She sang of the moon, she sang of the stars and late night dancing in a rundown bar. And she sang of the time disappearing oh so fast. He woke up, she was gone. There were different singers singing different songs. The time had come for him to be on his way. Maybe he'll pass this way again. He wandered off like he wandered in. And after all, it's not like him to stay. She sang of the earth, she sang of the sky, she sang of hello, she sang of goodbye, she sang of the people and of all the days gone past. She sang of the moon, she sang of the stars and late night dancing in a rundown bar. She sang of the people, time disappearing oh so fast. She sang of the earth, she sang of the sky, she sang of hello, she sang of goodbye, she sang of the people and of all the days gone past. She sang of the moon, she sang of the stars and late night dancing in a rundown bar. And she sang of the time disappearing oh so fast. There's a little place out the desert way. Folks would laugh and guitars play. Songs were sung and stories they were told. Thank you, baby. Susie likes that song. And a lot of other people do. It's gotten, there was, I've not forgotten his name, I'm very sorry, but a fellow with an Italian, in Italy, an Italian radio program, and he was very taken with that song and some of the other songs, played a lot of the songs from the album, and did a whole program, which was, he's a big fan of Jim and Mary's, and he was excited to hear about the album and a song I'd written earlier about Jim and Mary. So, and I was able to listen through the wonder of the internet in real time. And it was kind of crazy, remember, because all of the announcements, and of course, were in Italian.
Yeah.
And there was deep reverb on them, you remember? There was like, yo, whoa, 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 whoa. It was like all this echo was on. But it was a good program. And I'm going to get going before I get myself in more trouble with anything else. And I do another song for this. It goes out to my sister Joy and everybody in the family. This is another part. I was going to do this for my mother-in-law Jenny, who was supposed to be here but couldn't make it. But that's okay. This is, and also for every all of our Italian friends are such big fans of Townes Van Zandt, the great Townes Van Zandt. So this is a Townes Van Zandt song. This is called Pancho and Lefty. And I've told the story many times. This is a family favorite. My mother-in-law, my sister Joy, my sister Cindy, but also my brother-in-law Timothy, who is gone, and it's kind of I think everybody thinks of the Rascals and what rascals they were. So what the song reminds them of. This is Pancho and Lefty. Living on the road, my friend, was gonna keep you free and clean. But now you wear your skin like iron, your breath's as hard as kerosene. You weren't your mama's only boy, but her favorite one, it seemed. She began to cry when you said goodbye. You sank into your dream. Well, Pancho was a bandit, boys. His horse was fast as polished steel. He wore his gun outside his pants for all the honest world to feel. Well, Pancho met his match, you know, in the deserts down in Mexico. No one heard his dying word. Ah, but that's the way it goes. And all the federales say we could have had him any day. We only let him slip away. Out of kindness, I suppose. Well, Lefty, he can't sing the blues all night long like he used to. The dust that Pancho bit down south ended up in Lefty's mouth. The day they laid poor Pancho low, Lefty split for Ohio, and where he got the bread to go, well, there ain't nobody knows. And all the federales say we could have had him any day. We only let him slip away. Out of kindness, I suppose. Now the poets tell how Pancho fell, left his living in a cheap hotel. The desert's quiet and Cleveland's cold, and so this story ends, we're told. Well, Pancho needs your prayers, it's true, but save a few for Lefty too. He only did what he had to do. Now he's growing old. And all the federales say we could have had him any day. We only let him slip away. Out of kindness, I suppose. And a few gray federales say we could have had him any day. We only let him go so long. Out of kindness, I suppose. So that goes out to Timmy and Stevie and Johnny and Joy and Guggum and Susie and Cindy and everybody in Italy and everybody. So that loves Townsend and saying that song. So I was sitting on the beach up in Big Sur many, many years ago. I had this old nylon string guitar that I used to take camping, and I was playing it. We'd gotten there early in the morning, the way we used to take off to go on vacation. I was always playing at night. That's what I did. So Susie worked during the day. I would be home with the boys during the day, and then she'd get home, and we'd have dinner, and then I'd be off to whatever gig I was playing. So when we would leave for vacation, we would always try and leave at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock, the earliest we could get started to beat any of the traffic In those days, you could still beat the traffic by leaving at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning here in Southern California. Not so much anymore, but beat the traffic and get an early start and kind of get to where we were going at an early time. So we were camping up in Big Sur, and I think it was Lime Kiln, but it's no longer, it's a state campground now. No, I think it's been taken over. It may be washed out. I can't remember. I know it changed. So it was a private campground at the time, and we had a wonderful spot right on the beach, and I was sort of in that crazed, sort of no sleep sort of state of mind. I'd set up the campsite, gotten everything going, everybody was settled, and I was sitting down playing the guitar, and Susie gave me a beer, even though it was probably 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. It was vacation, but I started. I was playing this guitar lick, which is where a lot of songs come from for me, or certain songs anyhow. They'll come from a guitar lick, and so I played it and kind of remembered it, and a little while later was thinking about it, and there's an expression that. Sort of an expression, I guess, that I used to hear my father-in-law Johnny use when they would come over to the house. Like a lot of families, Johnny and Susie's mom Jenny would speak Spanish to each other, not so much to the kids. Good intentions, of course, but I would hear him say sometimes, "¿Qué más quieres? ¿Qué más puedo hacer?" It means, what more do you want? What else can I do? So I put that together with this guitar lick. And you can sing along now because you know part of the chorus, the important part. Please sing along. Even though we can't hear you, we will know. Through the magic of the internet, we will know if you're singing or not. Baby, I don't wanna cry, but if you want, I'll go ahead. Well, honey, I just want you back. If you want me to, I'll beg. Girl, you caught me in a lie. Some little foolish thing I said. Well, honey, I apologize. Please forgive and forget. Here's your part. ¿Qué más quieres? Not loud enough. ¿Qué más puedo hacer? Better tell me, what do you want? Baby, please hear my prayers. Second chance. ¿Qué más quieres? It's a little better. ¿Qué más puedo hacer? Let me prove that I love you. You didn't think I'd really be able to hear you. You prove that I care. Girl, I know you've been hurt, and I know that you've cried, but you know I still love you. That much can't be denied. Oh, please say you'll come back, and everything is okay. Girl, what more do you want? Girl, what more can I say? ¿Qué más quieres? Little better. ¿Qué más puedo hacer? Tell me, what do you want? Baby, please hear my prayers. Okay, really loud. ¿Qué más quieres? ¿Qué más puedo hacer? Let me prove that I love you. Let me prove that I care. One more time. Que más quieres? Que más puedo hacer? Tell me, what do you want? Baby, please hear my... I'm really listening on this one, so sing loud. Que más quieres? Que más puedo hacer? These things have microphones, you know. That I love you. I can hear you. Let me prove that I care. So just to prove that I could hear, I'm going to give a couple of shout outs to the people that were singing the loudest. And of course, everybody knows Tommy Salcedo was singing the loudest. I should demote you a little bit, Tommy, because you were ad-libbing a little bit and singing your own lyrics, but some of them were pretty good. So I'm gonna give it to you. And Joy also was singing, so that was pretty loud. The two of you, pretty good. No gifts, no presents or anything like that, but thank you for singing. And I'm gonna do one more song.
You want me to do that?
I'm going to do an old song from the Memphis Jug Band. Again, I'm not sure about continuing how, when, where, why, and everything. So any ideas that anybody has, please send me a message or a comment. And if you want me to continue, I'll continue, you know. But it seems like everybody is moving towards getting back to normal. So maybe the time has come and gone for doing the live streams. I will do at least next month, the first Saturday, I will do that. That'll be live from the Fret House. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure. It's a month-by-month basis there. I'd have to check with them. But they've been very generous and said they wanted to continue, so I'm expecting that to happen. Get your tickets for next Saturday, the 22nd, out there at Last Name Brewery. Remember when Ernest Tubb, he would flip over his guitar and it said thanks in big letters? Thanks. I need to get something on my guitar. So anyhow, thank you for tuning in, and thank you all for tuning in so many of these weeks here, all this last year and 2-3 months or whatever it is. I really appreciate it. It's been a joy to be able to sing my songs, and the support has just been just absolutely wonderful. Thank you all very, very much for that. There was something else I was going to say, but I'll think of it and say it before I sign off. Put your arms around me like a circle around the sun. I want to love you, mama, like my Easy Rider done. You don't believe I love you. Look what a fool I've been. You don't believe I'm sinking. Look what a hole I'm in. Stealing, stealing. Yeah, pretty mama, don't you tell on me. Well, I'm stealing back to my same old used to be. Yeah, well, the woman that I love is just my height and size. A married girl comes to see me sometimes. You don't believe I love you. Look what a fool I've been. You don't believe I'm sinking. Look what a hole I'm in. Stealing, stealing. Yeah, pretty mama, don't you tell on me. Yeah, well, I'm stealing back to my same old used to be. Well, I'm going up north to see my girl, sweet as one in the whole wide world. You don't believe I love you, look what a fool I've been. You don't believe I'm sinking, look what a hole I'm in. Stealing, stealing, yeah, pretty mama, don't you tell on me. Well, I'm stealing back to my same old used to be. Yeah, stealing, stealing, pretty mama, don't you tell on me. I'm stealing back to my same old used to be. Yeah, I'm stealing back to my same old used to be. So thank you very much for tuning in. Let's hear a big thank you to Susie for putting up with this. I think she's having a good time most of the time, but she's helped me out tremendously on this. Thank you, baby. I love you. Next Saturday, I'll be at Last Name Brewing, just to mention it one more time, and I'll be at the Fred House the first Saturday of next month. I don't have to say wear your mask anymore, I guess, so I'm not going to say it, but please get your vaccinations if you haven't. Get your vaccinations. And I think I kind of bumbled any humor in the dog story with Xena, and I apologize deeply for that. I certainly didn't mean to offend any small dogs or their owners or anything. My deep apologies if I did. No dogs were ever hurt by Xena. She's a loving, very lovable dog, but there's been some crazy encounters that if you heard the story, I think you might think it was funny too. Anyhow, my apologies, and we'll see you all again soon. Good night.